So, hello everyone. I hope you're still doing fine. So, today we're going to start something really new. We're going to start working on the book that you need to read soon. So, before reading, we need to anticipate and to work on the title, and on the cover pages. To know a little bit more about the book and so to better understand it after. So the title is Lies of Silence. So at the core of the title, there is a paradox, a contradiction, because lies and silence are opposite. Indeed, when you refer to lies, usually you refer to an idea of intentionally trying to deceive someone through words by not revealing the reality or by distorting the reality. And usually when we talk about lies, we talk about lies with words. So whereas silence means a refusal to speak, a refusal to say something, an absence of sound, and a moment where you don't talk, where you avoid talking. So the two words are opposite, and so we can guess that the author wants to mean and to refer the notion of lying through omission or lying by omission, the fact of not saying something, and by not saying something you are lying, you are not saying the truth, you are not saying the reality. So lies of silence can be seen as a means to Lies of silence can also echo another phrase, another sentence, which is minutes of silence. A minute of silence is when you stop speaking during an official event as a sign of respect for people who died or suffer, and it's a moment where through this silence you share the same emotion and you feel pity and compassion for the victims that died or suffered or for their families. It's a sign of respect. So lies of silence is built in the same way, drawing a parallel with minute of silence. So through this reference, we can maybe guess that the book is a tribute to the victims of the past troubles of Northern Ireland, and a way for the author to say sorry and to share and to enable people to share the same compassion for these victims. So through this context of Northern Ireland, the context of Northern Ireland, we can go a little bit further in the analysis of the title. We can think of the fact of keeping silent to hide the reality and to protect yourself against a threat, against a danger. And you can also think of people who might be threatened and convinced not to speak in order not to reveal truth or reality. And it's in a way this book breaks this taboo of silence and breaks these lies of silence, and so the book can then become a means for the author to publicly denounce something. And maybe in this case, in the case of Northern Ireland and with this author, the book might be a way to debunk taboos, to break this silence, and to publicly denounce how Irish are prisoner. So we saw their past, but here maybe prisoner of their silence. So it's maybe a way to denounce this oppressing silence that hunted or is still hunting or have hunted Northern Ireland through these years. So now if we focus on one of the book cover of this book, so this one, what is interesting to analyze here is first the fact that the scene or the book is going to take place in a city where there is movement, people working, and urban and classical environment with cars, etc. In this book, there is a man who stands out from the rest of the people, of the crowd, of the nation. And so this man, so we can see only his face and his eyes closed, seems to be in deep thinking, seems to be maybe perplexed or confused, or is trying to think about a choice he has to make, a choice he has to make, and resolve some of his inner conflict, whether it could be professional, personal, or important decision to make. You've got different ways to interpret or to see the image, because all this part here, okay, is in a way blurred. So blurred because he's maybe confused by his inner conflicts, or it can seem maybe like smoke or explosion, or so there is an ambiguous image here, and you've got different ways to interpret it, but the main idea is this idea of blurring image, which refers to confusion. So confusion of a man who is torn apart between different choices he has to make, or confusion maybe of a nation who is plunged into this violent conflict, and a nation which is prisoner of this silence. So this is one of the cover page that you can find. Here is another one. It might be your cover page, the cover page of your book. So here, what strikes us is first the overwhelming black, which is invading the book cover, and almost invading the little man here, which appears at the window, as if this man is going to be emerged, is going to be swallowed up by this black invading him and surrounding him. What strikes us is also this man who seems very little, as if he was in a way powerless to change anything. He is completely alone and seems really lonely in this atmosphere. You don't see anyone, any person, any other buildings, any details. So once again, if we draw a parallel with the first book cover, what is emerging is this idea of loneliness and isolation, maybe alone in his thoughts. He is on a phone, so maybe for an important phone call, and he's not outside, he's inside. So you've got this black surrounding him as if it was going to invade him. So he seems to be in a way prisoner or imprisoned or locked inside. So maybe locked inside his own conflict, or locked inside and prisoner of silence, prisoner of a secret. Or this idea of imprisonment can also be used for the nation, which is a prisoner of its of the troubles, and maybe of the overwhelming silence that everyone is sharing. And last idea, the point of view. So the point of view of the image which is taken. The point of view is that of someone watching this man from the inside, as if you can imagine a detective story where a detective is following someone, or maybe someone who wants to kill him. So it's a voyeur point of view, so as if somebody was following him and was going after him. So so this is it. You already have lots of direction that you can take to read the first chapter. What is interesting here also, not only the image, the visual, but a comment here, an armchair time bomb. So what is striking is the idea of bomb, which refers to something violent, to something sudden, to something which is going to destroy lots of lives, lots of buildings, something which is lying somewhere secretly and that you're trying to find. This idea of bomb can lead us to the genre maybe of the thriller. And the bomb can also refer to all the different attacks that took place in Northern Ireland during the Troubles from the IRA. And so the book is compared to a bomb, as if this book is going to explode in your hands while you're reading it at any moment when you're not expecting it. And this metaphor of the bomb can maybe illustrate how this book is meaningful, is going to reveal something that you didn't expect, that you didn't count on, and that you didn't know at all. So the bomb can also refer to the atmosphere of the book, where you can expect a climax, lots of moments of high intensity, some suspense, some tension, which could create expectation for the reader, and moments of surprise, because when the bomb explodes, you don't expect it because you didn't know about it. So, right, this is another way to interpret and to anticipate the book. Finally, this is a quote by Brian Moore, so the author, and here he clearly states and claims that his book belongs to the genre of the thriller. So if we go back to the definition of a thriller, so it's a genre of literature, of film, of television, whose first goal is to bring about a strong and intense feeling to the reader. So feelings of excitement, feeling of anxiety, of tension, of suspense, of fear. And so the main goal of a thriller is to create a physical and emotional reaction from the reader, and to what you often use to thrill the reader. That's why it's called thriller. So here, what he wants to, so he says it is a thriller, but with a sharper sense of purpose. So you've got an opposition here, which means that, yes, indeed, my book, or his book, belongs to the genre of the thriller. But what he means implicitly is that it's not only a thriller. It's not only here to create excitement. This idea is with a sharper sense of purpose. So it means that the reader has to go beyond this excitement to really try to understand what is the message, the deep message that the reader, that the author wants to convey. The reader needs to go beyond this excitement, to read between the lines, and to deeply understand what were the intentions of the author where, and to maybe think about why the author has chosen this genre, this specific genre, to convey his specific message, and to question himself or herself about how Brian Moore sees literature, and how what roles does he give to literature and to his